she sent her love and her greetings. If anybody has specific questions about products, you can send it directly to her. She'll be able to respond to your questions. As Paul said, this is going to be our last training event for the year so that we can go and spend Christmas with our families and friends. Today, I want to share some few ideas with you as we look back on the 2020. And I'm sure most of you drive. And when you're driving, once a while you look at the driving mirror in the middle to see what is happening behind you. And I think this 2020, I would suggest for you to look back on 2020 to find out which lessons you have learned. And then, because when you're driving, most of your sight should be forward looking. So I want to suggest that think about 2021. What are going to be your plans? To start us off, I want us to discuss about personal PV. For those of you who are guests, because I'm sure there are some guests who are in this training session. If you're a guest, we want to discuss what is called personal PV. Personal PV means the amount of products you as a distributor is able to move from the company to different customers. Let me just say, the reason why we are paid by Neolife in this business is when we move products from the company to different users.
Also, I think the network both ways are a little bit weak.
Hello, Paul, can you hear me? Hello? Hello, Paul, can you hear me? Florence, can you hear me? If you can hear me, just wave. Okay, I thought I was hearing some noises from the background and I thought there was something wrong. So I want to discuss with you a few ideas to help us build a strong personal PV on a consistent basis.
Okay.
What is the foundation for us distributors to be able to retail products? That means to move products from the company to different consumers. The first thing I think you need to have is product knowledge. You need to understand what our products do. For example, if you look at the home care products, what do those products do? For example, LDC is a dishwasher, but it's for general cleaning. You can use it to clean the bathroom, the toilet, the kitchen. You can use it to bathe. You can use it to wash your car. You can use it for all sorts of things in the home.
Struggling to hear us.
And you use it and you mix it 1 to 5. Let me say you've got one customer who buys one LDC from you. And then Super 10, you have, you mix it 1 to 10, you have one customer buying from you. That is 20 PV. If you go to the health supplements, the question I want to ask you is this. In 1 month, can you find somebody who has got low energy, wants to have a general improvement in their health? 1 3NN, which is 60 capsules, is 17 PV. If you have somebody with bone problems, somebody with arthritis, we recommend Calmite, and that is 10 PV. I think now it's 12 PV.
Ross, you can hear me?
Hello?
Okay. So what Rico is?
I think we've got some interference from, I don't know what's happening. If we stop sharing. Hello?
Saying is that we are going to do the.
Paul, okay. Thank you, Paul. So if you want to look for a customer who has arthritis, high blood pressure, brain problems, that's omega-3. If you have prostate or cancer issues, cruciferous plus. If you want somebody to boost their immune system, even if you're selling the small carotenoid complex, 30 capsules is 10 PV. The children's supplements is 11 PV. I think now it's 12 PV. If you add up all that, that is already 100 PV. So if you get a customer from each of those categories of customer needs, remember the reason why we sell our products. We sell our products because we've got customers who need our products, all right? And that means you need to know what your customers actually need. And you won't be able to know unless you learn how to listen, unless you learn how to ask questions, okay? That is about, even in fact, that is about personal use. Go to the next stage, retailing products. If you've got 2 customers to buy LDC, that's 20 PV. If you've got 2 customers to buy Super 10, that's another 20 PV. 2 customers with care solution. I know in East Africa, the product the product that sells the most is Super Grow. If you've got 2 customers with diabetes, that is Trianen and fiber tablets. And now, because we've got a new product called, I forget our products for the main diabetes. But if you have 2 customers who have diabetes each, that's already 54 PV. Customers with high blood pressure, and that's garlic and omega-3. If you have a customers with ulcers, that's aloe vera plus zinc. Arthritis is CalMag plus omega-3. Prostate cancer, or anybody with cancer. If you get a customer with each of these conditions, you find that you can actually build a PV unit of 324 quite easily. But this depends on your knowledge of the products. That's one. Number 2, it depends on your knowledge of what your customers need. So if you want to build your personal PV, 2 things are very important for your business. Number 1, you need to understand what our products do. Number 2, you need to listen and understand what our customers need. If you marry these 2 things, you will find that you are able to reach 300 or 400 points quite easily. And I'm actually quite impressed by some of the teams in East Africa of the personal PV that they do. It's really appreciated that the people in East Africa really make an effort to move their personal PV. So 2 key ideas about retailing products. 1 is personal product knowledge. That's why I think I really appreciate most of you who attend the Thursday training, so that you can acquire the skill of knowing what our products do. Number 2 is finding out what our customers need. And that depends on how well do you listen to your customers? How well do you know your customers? How many of your customers do you speak to? So if you marry those 2, the customer needs and your product knowledge, it's quite easy for you to be able to reach 300 PV, 400 PV. But I want to have a second suggestion that will increase your PV. If you've got customers who are really satisfied, from my experience, for example, Betty and I have customers who have been serving for 20 years. And why is that? Because our products are excellent and it satisfies the need of the product. So sometimes we tell our customers, look, you're satisfied. If you refer me to another customer and they buy, I will give you a free gift or I'll give you a discount. So if one customer gives you a referral and the product is sold, you've expanded your customer base. If you've got 10 customers and each of them refers only 1 more customer, it means you'll have 20 new customers, and that doubles your personal PV. And if you double your personal PV, just think about this. If you double your personal PV and everybody in an organization does the same, your business will double in volume. And that's the power of listening, the power of asking your customers for referrals and giving small gifts to your customers. The other thing I would recommend is have personal information about your customers. When are their birthdays? What are their children's name? When are their anniversaries? The reason for this is that you want your customers to know that you actually care about them. It's not just selling products to them, but you care for them as people or individuals. Okay, so those few ideas I think can help us to build our personal PV. If you allow me, I want to share a different screen with you. you know, sometimes when you start this business, because, for example, in Kenya, you need about 7,200 or 8,800 to start the business. In South Africa, you need a minimum of 690 rand to start the business. In Tanzania is about, I think, 132,000. In Uganda is about 203,000 Tanzania shillings. In Nigeria is about 17,000 naira. On average, if you convert all the currencies in dollars, you're talking about $70 to $100 to start the business. And because it's not a lot of money, it's very tempting to think that this is a small business, that this is a Mickey Mouse business. And by the way, Mickey Mouse is a multi-billion-dollar business. So you need to think carefully about how you treat this business. If you treat this business as a big business, it's going to pay you big income. You know, if you're an investor, one of the things that investors look for is something called the return on investment, ROI. I'll give you an example of our business. Betty and I started in March 1996. That's when we started the business. And we invested 425 Rand. If you convert it to dollars at that time, it was about $60. By the end of 1996, our income had reached $1,500 per month. And that was in 9 months. If you convert that to return on investments, that is over 600%. Okay? In fact, it's even way more than about 1,400%. If you're an investor and you're getting a return of 1,400% in your investments, that's an extremely good business. I'll give a few figures for you to think about to find out the nature of our industry, the size of our industries, and the reason why you need to take this business seriously. Network marketing industry is one of the oldest and trusted method of generating customer base. And what is that? It's called word of mouth. I'm sure most of you, the things that you do, the things that you buy because a friend of yours referred you to those products. I remember when Betty and I arrived in South Africa and I wanted to buy a car, I asked for my friend which cars are most reliable. He told me Toyota. And for 2 consecutive times, the car I bought was Toyota. Why? Because it was reliable. 2, the after use sales value was good. The second thing about our industry, in 2019, the whole industry generated $167 billion. This year, it is estimated that the industry will generate $200 billion. Now, that is not little money. That's a lot of money. The most profitable way to promote products and services with the use of technology is this industry. Why? Because network marketing companies do not spend any money advertising. It's distributors like ourselves who advertise by word of mouth on behalf of the company. Okay? Number 4, by 2025, it is estimated that the whole industry will reach $650 billion worldwide. The question I want to ask you, of this increase, let's say this year is 200 billion. 2025 will have reached 650 billion. It means there's an increase of 450 billion. The question is, how much of that 450 billion will be in your team? I see Florence is taking notes very, very intensely because she is very serious about this business and she wants to know how to get to that 450 billion. Ask yourself, of this 450 billion increase in retail sales in the industry, how much of this will be in your team? And who is the person who is going to cause that growth? You know, one of the things that countries make to attract investors is to give them policies that attract tax havens, people who can invest in their countries and generate income. And one of the industries that that countries invite to their countries is network marketing. Why? Because network marketing is one of the most efficient methods of generating income. network marketing companies have generated $1.5 trillion since 2009. That's an average of about $150 billion annually. Okay? And the amount of commissions they have paid is $600 billion. That's just under 45%, just over 45% of the generated income. Think about this. If in 2025, $650 billion will be generated worldwide, and the commissions paid to distributors is about 40% of that, that's over $250 billion paid to distributors as bonuses. The question is, how much of that will be in your bank account? But the statistic that I found depressing, but at the same time very exciting, is that in 2017, Africa did only 1% of the global sales. That tells you that we have a very large margin for growth because Africa is the youngest continent on the planet. At the moment, Africa's population is about 1.1 billion. And of that 1.1 billion, 60% are below the age of 35. 60%. That tells you we've got a great capacity or potential to grow this business in Africa, that people who take this business seriously will be extremely wealthy in the next 6 years. And by gender, 74% are women, 26% are men. I don't know why that is the case, but I suspect it's because our business is a relationship business and women are better at relating. I think that's the reason why there are more women in this industry than there are men. Women are very, very efficient in relating. They can create relationships very, very quickly, and they can listen and they can make friends very fast. But at the same time, those friendships sometimes are very delicate. But I think women have got a great capacity for making friends and for relating. That's why 74% of people in our industry are women. So if you're smart, gentlemen, look for women to join your business. Okay? I think it's a very smart move because they are the people who keep our business together. Think about this. The heart of a home, the center of a home is a woman, it's not a man. Okay? And a woman is the one who knows what's going on in the house. She knows what the family needs. She knows how much money is coming in. She knows much more than the man about what is happening in the home. And I think that's why they're able to see the capacity of this business to make their family life better. So if you're smart, start looking for women to join your business because they will create the relationships, the capacity to grow your business. All right? The next thing I want to share with you is your game plan. 2020 has been a very, very difficult year. It's been very tough. Some of you who are my age or 10 years younger might remember there was a band in Kenya called Mangelepa. I don't know whether some of you remember this. If you do, please wave. I remember one of the songs that this band used to play was a song called Dracula. And in that song, in Swahili, they says, kijiko ya jikoni haiogopi moto. In English, it means a spoon which works in the kitchen is not afraid of the heat. Our business is the same. If you want to succeed in this business, you need to know sometimes this business can be very tough. 2020 has been very tough for everybody. And my suggestion is look at 2020 as a platform for lessons to know what to do in the future. Despite the challenges of 2020, our business has grown. Why? Because people are looking for additional ways to generate income. Because of the COVID-19, the sales of our supplements have gone through the roof, especially vitamin C, chelated zinc, vitamin A and D, carotenoid complex, garlic, things that help our immune system to be stronger. That is why our business has grown during this year. But now with the discovery of vaccines, it appears to me that things will come back to normal. The question is, when things come back to normal, what plans have you made for yourself and for your business? What plans have you made for yourselves, for your team? What plans have you made for yourself for your own personal growth? Okay. Long time ago, I came across this book by Stephen Covey called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And one of the first things that Stephen Covey says is begin with the end in mind. What does that mean? What do you want to be? What do you want at the end of the business? What is your goal? So I want to have a few recommendations for you. Number one, what is your goal for December 2021? I see Mary Owaka has lifted her hand. I don't know whether there's a challenge. I think the reception is okay.
Yes, Pascal, we can hear you.
Okay, all right. Thanks. All right, so let me put the slideshow to the current slide. What is your 2021 game plan? What is it that you have planned to achieve during 2021? 2020 has been a tough year, but what are you planning for 2021? I've given you a simple example on how to plan of the goal you want to reach. Let me say if your income goal at the end of 2021 is $5,000, okay? You want to earn $5,000 by the end of 2021, which is December 2021. And your level, you want to reach PT. That means you want to be a 4Ruby director. Okay? If you want to be a 4Ruby director, you know what? To be a 4Ruby director, it requires 6 director legs and 100,000 PV maintained for 3 months. That is what our marketing plan says. I want to suggest to you that if that is your goal, if your goal is to earn $5,000 a month by December 2021, and you want to reach a 4Ruby director, which means a president's team member, the requirement is you need to be a director yourself, and you need to have 6 director legs, and your business should be doing 100,000 PV. If that is your goal, I'm not saying this should be your goal. You choose your own goal, write it on a piece on your notebook, and make it clear in your mind. Okay? What I would suggest, if your aim is to be 4Ruby, you need to aim to have 8 director legs, not 6. Why? Because you need a spare leg. All right? Now, if you want to have 8 director legs, how many personally sponsored legs do you need to have? From my experience, you need at least 5 times that number. That means you need to sponsor 40 personally sponsored legs. Now, I know some of you may be thinking, 40 people, is that really possible to sponsor? Yes, it is. How do you do this? To sponsor 40 people, you need to speak to 40 times 8 prospects. That is 320 prospects. Okay? If you need to speak to 320 prospects, let me say you want to achieve that over an 8-month period. Why do I say 8 months? Because by the end of August, you should already have laid the foundation to start doing your president's team, your 4Ruby step. Okay? So you want to recruit 40 people in a period of 8 months. Sorry, you want to recruit 40 new legs in 8 months, and to do that, you need to prospect 320 prospects. If you want to do that over 8 months, it means you need to prospect 40 people every month. And that means 10 people every week. You see, when you break down this thing into small chunks, it is easy to believe that actually this thing is feasible. Speaking to 10 prospects every week means you show 2 to 3 people every day. From my experience, most people can do this quite easily. Talk to 3 people every day about the business, show them the business. Not all of them will join. But I think the challenge that most people face is consistency of talking to people. All right. So let's say you talk to 3 people every day. If you speak to 3 people every day, by the end of the week, you have spoken to between 10 and 15 people. By the end of the month, you have spoken to between 40 and 60 people. Out of this, you should be able to sponsor 4 to 6 new legs every month. The challenge is we don't consistently do this. Okay, so for a person who wants to be a 4B director, I would recommend that you need to think about this plan, show the business to 3 people every day, with the idea that you need to monitor what you do. You see, the products in your life are the same. Whether you're in Kenya, South Africa, Uganda, Nigeria, the products are the same. Okay? Number 2, the compensation plan is the same. Number 3, the market where you are working is the same. What is the difference? The only difference in this equation is you. All right? So what are you going to do for yourself to make sure that the goal you have set for 2021 becomes a reality? My opinion is you just need to consistently speak to 3 people every day and follow up. If you master those 3 things, master inviting, master how to do follow-up, master how to sell events, you will find that the system, the people who do the presentation, the meetings that your prospects attend will do most of that work for you. All right? From my own experience, 90% of success depends on your attitude, depends on your depends on your inspiration. What do you believe in? What is the level of your self-belief? What is the level of your faith? Faith comes through hearing. That's why I think it's very important to write your vision down and read it every day and visualize it every day. The reason you do this is so that, you see, there's something in our brain called reticular activating system. What does that mean? It means there's something in our brain that recognizes the opportunities to make our goals become true. I remember that when we started the business and I was running a Toyota, and one day I saw an Audi A4 silver color, and I fell in love with the car. I thought that is a car I want to drive. So I went with one of my sons, Felix, to a showroom in the middle of Pretoria. We went and we asked the salesman, how much is this car? So I told my son to take me a photo. I went and sat in the car. It had the exact the details that I wanted. It was silver in dark silver in color. It has automatic transmission. It had black leather seats inside. It had climate control. It has a 1.8 liter turbocharged engine, because those are the details I wanted. I asked him to take me a photo sitting in the car, and I took that photo and put it on my diary. And every day I looked at that picture. 2 years later, that's a car I bought to drive. So you need to write down your goal, read it and look at it every single day. Okay? Then you need to have daily affirmation. Daily affirmation is you read the goals that you want to achieve. And the reason for that is so that your mind becomes very sensitive to noticing opportunities to help your business or help your goals become a reality. The other thing is keep records of your activity. You know, sometimes we just speak to people, but we don't keep a record of our activity, so we don't know how effective we are. Ask yourself these questions. In the month of November, how many prospects did you speak to? How many of them said yes? How many said no? Of the ones who said no, how many of them are customers? You see, that information will give you an idea of how effective you are in your activity. Okay? Then I would suggest attend all events. For me, events is what changed everything for us. I remember when we joined the business in March, and we attended the first free enterprise conference in Bloemfontein, which is about 550 kilometers from here. And there were about 4,000 people who attended the rally. I saw Charlie Bolton. I saw, at that time, our immediate trainer was called Johannes van Jeden. He had just become a 3 Ruby director. And I couldn't believe that this business was so fantastic. The penny dropped for me during that meeting. I remember I was so excited that I began to collect the names of people who were attending this conference. And Betty whispered in my ear, you know, all these people are distributors, so I don't know why you're collecting their names. So that excitement, that shift in my mind and my conviction is what really put Betty and I on the path to success. So I suggest to you, attend all events and be very good at selling events to your distributors. You know, sometimes if you've been in the business for a long time, your distributors tend to stop listening to you. But if somebody else says the same thing who they are not used to, they will listen to and act accordingly. That is why events are very, very powerful things to help your business to grow. So prepare your game plan. Before this year ends, sit down if you're married with your spouse, plan your activity. What do you want to be at the end of 2021? One of my friends from Nigeria the other day called me and sent me a message and said, look, by the end of 2021, by December, their goal is to earn $50,000 a month, and they want to be at least Diamond Director. I said, amen. Just write it down and prepare a plan for it to start becoming a reality. The last thing I would like to discuss with you is how to craft your story. One of the most powerful things you can use to grow this business is to tell your story. I have read a lot of very successful people. I have read a lot of very successful distributors, leaders. One of the things they use very powerfully to share information and teach is the use of stories. And there are 4 secrets to telling a powerful story. The first thing you need to know that people will connect with your story. You see, when you give information, people connect with you intellectually. They understand what you're saying. But if you want to capture their heart, you need to learn how to tell your story. You need to, when you're telling your story, you need to place time and place. You need to say what happened. You need to say what you're feeling at that time. You need to describe the place where you are. You need to, the colors, the events, the emotions, the feelings. You need to tell the story with all these details because people want to engage with you. Remember, when you're speaking to 1,000 people, you're not speaking to 1,000. You're speaking to each individual sitting on 1,000 chairs. So telling story is a very, very powerful thing. I would give you an example. I remember when we started the business, I was very excited about this business. Our sponsor came to 2 days after we saw the business, our sponsor came to our house and they showed us the business, they explained the business. So they went away and I think the same day or the next day, Betty went for the presentation. I remained at home to look after the children. At that time, we had 3 sons. When Betty came back, I asked her how the presentation was. She didn't explain the details, but she says, look, I think these things we can do, but I'm not very sure of those calculations, how you earn money. But the thing that attracted me is that you can build this business from your house. So I said, well, let's try this business. We don't know if it would succeed or not. And then we wrote a check. So by the way, if you're a guest in this training and you don't have money, get hope from what Betty and I did. We didn't have any money. Those days we used to use checks. I wrote a check and asked my bank manager to honor the check. It was 425 Rand. When I told him that I want to start a business and I've written a check, he almost fainted. I told him, look, it's only 425 Rand. And at that time, it was an equivalent of about $50. He said, what kind of business do you start with $50? I said, well, let's see if it will work. That's how we started our business. And I was so consumed by the business that I started practicing how to present this business. The first thing I did, I took an old calendar, turned it at the back and hung it on the wall on our sitting room with a hook. And I told Betty to sit down and pretend she's our first prospect. And I explained the business. The first time I explained the business to her, she said, Pascal, if I was your guest, I would never join the business. I didn't understand a word of what you said. But I kept practicing and practicing and practicing. I would practice in the car, I would practice in the bathroom, I would practice in the office. Anytime I get a small chance, I would take a piece of paper, draw the circles, explain the marketing plan, explain the percentages, explain using the product, sharing the business, building a team. After 2 months of doing that, I remember we wanted to go and present the business in Swaziland. Okay, now it's called Eswatini. Swaziland at that time, and Betty and I, we woke up on Saturday morning at 6 a.m. and we hit the road. By about 9:15, we are at the border of Swaziland and South Africa. And at that time, our sponsor, Johannes van Eden, was coming to do the meeting. When we got to the border, he called and said, Pascal, we are not coming for the meeting, do the meeting yourself. We had just made our step to manager. Between the border and Mbabane, the capital city, was about 15 kilometers, about 15 minutes drive. For me, that was one of the longest journeys I've ever undertaken. So we got to the venue, I was sweating, I didn't know what to do. We found the venue had been prepared, there was a flip chart, there were about 40 people in the audience. So I recalled what I had presented and said, well, one of my downlines who had joined the business about 2 weeks from the time we started, went and introduced me and said, ladies and gentlemen, welcome a very successful businessman from Pretoria who is going to share the business with you. So I presented the business. I just recalled what I had been practicing. By the end of that presentation, 10 people signed up and joined the business. That's how we started the business. So I'm telling you that story to show you how powerful it is to share people. You connect with people intellectually of the content that you use. But when you put emotion, circumstances on how you felt about the business, it gives a different feel. The next thing I want to give you as a fourth secret of a powerful story is to know the difference between telling and showing. Telling is giving information, the percentages, how you build the business, using the products, selling a few products, building a team, doing personal development. That is the content, but you will notice that the stories that we have in our business are the ones that actually win over our prospects. It is not the percentage that they see. In fact, most of the prospects don't understand those percentages. What wins them over is the stories they hear. Because the stories they hear about the struggles, they hear about the challenges, they hear about what the distributors did to succeed. Some of them had fears, some of them were excited, some of them had doubts. But when you bring this into the story, you are showing the prospect your story. Apart from telling is giving information. Showing is bringing them to your heart, bringing them to the experience of what you went through. The third thing about the secret of a powerful story is conviction. You cannot convince anybody until you are convicted yourself about this business. You know, I remember one of my friends, when we went to do this business in Lesotho, his name is Gitau. Gitau joined the business not because he understood what we explained. He said he joined the business because I was excited, because he saw I was convinced about this business. Okay? So your conviction about the business. You know, Lisa Nichols says that your conviction and the convenience are not in the same block. If you want convenience, this is not the business for you. If you want conviction, if you believe in this business, if you believe that you are actually going to help or create a positive experience for people in our business, this is a business for you. The fourth thing that I would recommend the fourth secret of powerful storytelling is being authentic. Being authentic simply means that you say things as they are. You don't exaggerate what you went through, or you don't downplay what you went through. And I would recommend you need to speak about the challenges and also the positive things you experience in the business. Okay? Being authentic simply means that you're true to yourself. And if you have these four things of crafting your story, you have a very powerful story that you're going to share with your prospects and your distributors. Number one, remember that stories help connect with your prospects or your audience. Number two, you need to know the difference between telling and showing. Number three, you need to have conviction. That means you need to really believe in the thing that you are doing. If you don't believe in this thing, your prospects will sense, they will know. And number four, you need to be authentic. To be authentic simply means that you need to share both the good and the bad of your experience about the business. I know it's approaching now, it's about 12 minutes to 8. I'd like to end with the following. Those of you who are in Nairobi, or those of you who are in whatever you are in South Africa, we never had our the regional convention because of COVID-19. In East Africa, you had parts virtual convention, and you had a convention in Dar es Salaam. Next year, God willing, this convention will be in your region, whatever it is. I'd like you to accompany on this small journey. Let me say you're a new distributor, or you're an old distributor. You're a senior manager, like my friend from Mombasa, Mr. Kanbai. I really appreciate you attending these training sessions all the time. Let me assume that you are a director at this point. The date is 12th of September 2021. And the convention is happening in Nairobi at the KICC, Kenyatta International Conference Center. And the meeting is being held at the Savo meeting room. You have 4,000 distributors from all over East Africa attending the convention. And you have just taken your last step to become a 4UB director in the month of August. On Friday evening, you go to your place and you order an Uber, a luxurious Uber, Mercedes-Benz blue in color with the interior leather. The vehicle comes to pick you up from your home at 7:30 in the morning, and you've got your spouse. The driver asks you where you're going. You tell your driver, please take us to KICC. The driver drives very slowly. It takes you about an hour to get to KICC. You join Uhuru Avenue, you take the left and get into the parking of the KICC. And when you reach the gate of KICC, you find your whole team waiting for you there. They are clapping their hands. They've made a line left and right to receive you because you've just become a president's team member. If you're a man, you're wearing a dark blue suit with a red tie, highly polished shoes. If you're a woman, you're wearing your favorite dress, probably pink in color or whatever color you have. Then you walk slowly from the car and you go to the meeting room. Your session is at 10 o'clock and there are 4,000 people clapping for you, and you go on stage as a 4UB director. Apart from your income reaching 500,000 shillings a month, you've got a step-up bonus of another 1.8 million shillings. And that is going to be presented to you and your spouse. I'd like you to maintain that picture in your mind. Play it over and over again. And you go on stage, you thank your distributors. Paul Mato is there. He calls your name as the latest president's team member. And he says what a fantastic effort you've made during 2021. You've made 4 steps to be a world team member, and 1 step to be a president's team member. He called your name on stage, and your sponsor is there waiting for you to give your 4UB pin. And you can't believe what has happened to you, because in this December, you decided to set a goal, you decided to put it in writing, and you decided you're tired of mediocrity, you were going to give this business your very best. Think about that scenario, replay that video in your mind, because if you do, that will just become a reality. So ladies and gentlemen, it's been my pleasure to share this evening with you. I know some of you have gone through tough times, but remember, tough times don't last. It's tough people do. I wish you the very best. May God bless you until all your lives, your dreams, and challenges are taken away and your dreams are fulfilled. Thank you and good night.